Good morning. My name is Steve Brunner. I'm with the USA Pro Cycling Challenge, and welcome to Denver, Colorado. We're live on the web this morning here at the History Colorado Center in downtown Denver. At this time, I'd like to introduce the CEO of the USA Pro Challenge, Sean Hunter, give opening remarks and talk about this year's event. Sean.
Thank you, Steve. Well, on behalf of the Pro Challenge ownership and front office, thank you all for being here and celebrating the details of 2014. Especially thank you to those in the room that pushed our bandwagon 4 years ago when this was just an idea. There were a lot of people that thought we were pretty crazy and could we really pull this off? And for those of you like the Governor Ritter that made this happen, thank you very much. We do have a very small front office, 10 people that get out of bed and all they do 12 months a year is think about the Pro Challenge. And what we lack in size, we try to make up in passion and energy. And if you wonder what keeps us going 12 months a year and keeps us motivated, I think it's easier for me to show you.
I've never seen anything like this. Even in Europe, it's nothing like this.
When they get to the top, they'll be the highest point reached in any professional cycling race.
We're going to showcase Colorado to 200 countries around the world.
It's rapidly becoming the crown jewel of American cycling, the USA Pro Challenge.
Cycling News calls it one of the top 5 races in the world.
128 of the best cyclists in the world,
including Tour de France champ Chris Froome. They'll go Aspen, Breck, Steamboat, Beaver Creek, Vail, Fort Collins, and wrap it up in downtown Denver.
It's fantastic, from the fans to the racing to the epic climbs.
The most difficult climbs of Bachelor's Gulch.
Tour de France this year, their highest point was about 6,300 feet. We start in Aspen at 7,900 feet and go up. We go over 12,000 feet the second day.
The relentless grade will create the sort of epic racing for which the Pro Challenge is known for.
It's the hardest climb that the Pro Challenge has ever seen.
I've never done a race at this kind of altitude before.
It's steep, it's switchbacks, it's rough road, and it's a real European style climb.
The crowds have been awesome here in Colorado.
This is just one of the best events.
The crowds have been unbelievable.
So many people. Absolutely awesome to see us here in the U.S.
The Pro Challenge draws spectators from all over the world.
The population of Aspen more than doubled today.
Really excited to watch this. This is going to be awesome.
Huge crowds to see the riders come through.
It gets bigger every year. The Pro Challenge draws 1 million spectators.
I think it was 20 deep the whole way up. It was like exiting NFL Stadium after like the Super Bowl.
The number of fans definitely rivaled anything in Europe.
As a Colorado resident, I think we've proved that we have the best fans and the craziest fans in the world.
The Pro Challenge will also be a big deal for the state of Colorado's economy.
The event brings millions of dollars into the state economy.
Did I tell you how much I love this U.S. Pro Challenge?
Whichever one finishes first down the bottom is the next leader of the USA Pro Challenge.
USA Pro Challenge definitely treated millions of fans to a great week of cycling.
You know, that's the great thing about bike racing. You don't know how it's going to end.
Spectacular scenery here around Colorado, which really is cycling country.
This is America's race, and it's really a credit to the people of Colorado. We got the beauty of our state, we got the challenging elevations, and we've got a passion that's really nowhere else, maybe other than France.
The people of Colorado have showed us time and time again that they want this race to continue well on into the future.
undertaking. It's one of the best public-private partnerships I've ever seen. 7 days, almost 600 miles, almost 40,000 feet of vertical climbing, 128 of the best cyclists in the world, over 1 million spectators. We're seen in almost 200 countries and territories around the world, 25 hours on the NBC Sports Group. And one of the most important statistics is we have over 4,000 volunteers that help us create a great moment of truth for our visitors, but also keep this race safe. And then another one that's pretty fascinating is the official race traveling party. We take up almost 800 rooms a night. So when we hit Aspen to launch this thing, you know, and then move on to Crested Butte and to all the great cities, we're taking up almost 800 rooms a night. A couple of new elements this year we're very proud of. For the first time in what we believe is the first race ever, major stage race in the world, we engaged our fans in social media to help us select Stage 7. And we had over 15,000 people weigh in with their input that we've incorporated into Stage 7, and you're going to hear about that in a couple of minutes. The other is our first true mountaintop finish at Monarch Mountain. We're going to finish at about 11,500 feet. You passionate diehards know what that means. For those getting just introduced to cycling, that's about twice as high as any other major race in the world in terms of elevation and finish. So it's unbelievable. I would like to say a couple of quick thank yous, but very important. Rick and Richard Shad, they own our race. They have given us a community asset. They have invested over $40 million, made this a community asset that's privately funded. Without their financial support, their patience and vision, we would not be standing here today, so thank you. My friend Governor Ritter, yes, big thank you to the Shaddens. Governor Ritter, you gave birth to this race, and I owe you a big one. Sometimes, sometimes with what the race has given me with a couple extra gray hairs, I don't know if I should kill you or thank you, but I think I should thank you. And really, it was your vision and determination. I want to thank the state. Governor Hickenlooper has been a great cheerleader. Al White, head of tourism, a good friend, has been a great supporter. Our world-class communities, unbelievable. What's beautiful about this sport is getting to see the best athletes, some of the best athletes in the world, but it's free to the public. That puts great emphasis on corporate support, and we've had tremendous sponsorship support since day one. Many of our corporate partners are here with us today, so thank you. I mentioned the volunteers, over 4,000 across the 7 days that really keep the race safe, and our great ambassadors, and really to showcase the state and our communities to the rest of the world. About 23% of that million plus on-site spectators come from out of Colorado, so thank you to the volunteers. And then most importantly, you saw in the video, there is only one race in the world, and I've been to all the major races, that has the same passion that we see here in Colorado as the Tour de France. But we have the best fans, and Joe, it reminds me a little bit about almost like a playoff game. Not quite the Super Bowl, but you know, I think we have in the Broncos perhaps the best run professional franchise in all of the United States, and I think that passion that we see in Mile High, we bring to the 7 days of the Pro Challenge. It's now my pleasure to introduce a good friend and to talk a minute or two about what this means to the state, the head of tourism, Mr. Al White.
Thank you, Sean, and I would like to echo Sean's thank you to the Shaddens. You know, the Shaddens have exactly what it takes to be the proprietors of this race. They have Sean Hunter, for one, the best organizer in the industry, and they have patient capital. It cost a lot of money to put this on, and my office is part of that. We have been sponsors since the very beginning. The governor may have given birth to the race, but then he turned it over to me to feed, which we have done diligently for the last 4 years. But I'll tell you, my office spends millions of dollars marketing the state of Colorado nationally and internationally, and there is no way I could get the same bang for my buck, these modest dollars that we expend on our race, that we do with the U.S. Pro Cycle Challenge. With the eyes, both domestic and international, that see Colorado for the first time and say, oh my God, I have got to get there. I am on my way to Colorado. I don't care whether they're coming from New York or whether they're coming from New Zealand, there are people that are finding out about Colorado as a result of this race that would never, ever otherwise hear of us. That's why we sponsor it and feel very good about our taxpayer dollars supporting this race, because it has a multiple leveraged return for every dollar we spend. They come, they spend money in the private sector, and they spend, and those dollars collect taxes, which more than make up for our expenditure. So I've said enough. Sean, is it back to you, or who am I introducing? I didn't get to run a show. Thank you all. Let's give you another big hand.
Got a unique program today where we got representatives from each one of the communities that will describe each one of the stages. At this time, I'd like to call on Nancy Leslie to come up here. She's been really the driving force behind Aspen and Snowmass Village participation. They're the grand start for the second year in a row. And if you talk to Ben Day, who's raced in the race, and Timmy Duggan, who raced in the race, they'll tell you that Aspen as a grand depart is a great place to start. Nancy?
Thank you, Steve. Sorry about the readers. Aspen is honored to be the only host community to be chosen as the overall start 2 years in a row. The Pro Challenge is such a wonderful way to showcase to the world the community that we know, love, and enjoy. Be it biking, hiking, the arts, dining, entertainment, or the world-renowned music festival, we are uniquely Aspen. Come find out for yourself exactly what it is that we all love and cherish. We are planning many events and festivities to celebrate the start of the U.S. Pro Challenge. So come, bring your bike, be it the mountain bike, the road bike, or the townie. We have something for everybody. The Aspen Snowmass Circuit may be short on distance, but it packs a punch. At 65 miles, 3 laps of nearly 22 miles each, and 2,300 feet of climbing per lap with minimal recovery, this circuit's put the challenge back in Pro Challenge. Each lap will see the riders grind up to Snowmass Village, then a quick descent leads to 2 short but steep climbs, and a quick loop through downtown before doing it all again. Pair that with a starting elevation of 7,900 feet, and you have one tough opening day. Again, we are so honored to be part of the rich history of cycling in Colorado, and look forward to starting off this great week of cycling.
Talking to Richie Port, who was one of the key lieutenants for Chris Froome, who was the Tour de France winner last year, he said this particular course on day one is no ride in the park, that it's a pretty hard course, so it's a good way to start the overall tour. At this time, I'd like to introduce Dave Wiens, and he is representing Crested Butte, Mount Crested Butte, and Gunnison. And if you'd like to come up here. This gentleman is really an American mountain bike legend. 6-time winner of the Leadville 100, 2-time winner of a World Cup event, and also multinational champ on the mountain bike circuit. Dave will describe stage 2 and also the start of stage 3. Dave.
Thank you very much. On behalf of the community and the local organizing committee for Crested Butte and Mount Crested Butte, we are thankful and very honored to have a U.S. Pro Cycling Challenge finish for a 3rd year. The challenge of cycling from Aspen and the grueling 2.5-mile uphill finish to Mount Crested Butte will be an exciting adventure for the racers. While the pros are grinding over McClure and Kebler passes toward our little town, we'll be celebrating in downtown Crested Butte with a townie criterium that will pass straight through one of our local watering holes. All kinds of entertainment and activities will be taking place up at the finish line in Vendor Village in Mount Crested Butte, including little kids racing on Strider bikes. There's no place anywhere that is crazier for bicycles than Crested Butte. The mountain bike was invented here, and we are proud to have hundreds of miles of the best backcountry single track on the planet. For those who prefer to use the assistance of gravity, the lift-assisted riding at the Evolution Bike Park at Crested Butte Mountain Resort mirrors the winter opportunities there, with trails for beginners and families, as well as our hallmark, the double black diamonds. Road riding, too. The West Elk Bicycle Classic, Labor Day weekend, has been pitting everyday riders like you and me against the dirt surface and monster climb of Kebler Pass since 2012. So come to Crested Butte with us watch the pros, then return to test yourself on what likely will be the single toughest section of the 2014 Pro Cycling Challenge, Kebler Pass. Here's the description for Stage 2. Each year, the U.S. Pro Cycling Challenge searches for ways to include one or more gems of Colorado cycling lore. Last year, it was the climb up Bachelor Gulch. This time around, it will be the unpredictable Kebler Pass. Stage 2 opens fast by ripping down the Aspen Valley to Carbondale before tackling the 8,700-foot McClure's Pass. A short descent brings the race to Gunnison County Road 12, a 20-mile roller coaster that more or less goes up a lot, actually. That constantly changes from pavement to dirt and back again while topping out above 10,000 feet over Kebler Pass. It's a lot more dirt than pavement, believe me. A technical descent into Crested Butte brings the race back to familiar terrain, and as in 2011 and 2012, the race will include a sprint point on Elk Avenue in historic downtown Crested Butte, and then the steep finishing climb up to the base of the ski area and the finish at Mount Crested Butte, where we saw a dozen or so lead changes in the race in 2012. And that's Crested Butte, Stage 2. I'm also here for the Stage 3 start from Gunnison to the top of Monarch Mountain. Also with me is Jordana Spencer, recruiter for Western State Colorado University. Thanks for coming, Jordana. The Gunnison Valley is unspoiled, undeveloped, and off the beaten path. There are no outlet malls and no big box stores. We don't consider shopping a sport. In our valley, sports take place outside on the vast public lands, your public lands. Skiing and snowboarding, road and mountain biking, fly fishing, hiking and paddling, adventure and exploration. Even though we don't have an interstate highway or the internet, we pride ourselves in being friendly and accessible. Nearly half of the population of Gunnison either attends or works at Western State Colorado University. Learning, working, and playing in the outdoors is the bedrock of our community. Although we're an easy 3-hour drive from Denver and Colorado Springs, there's still a chance you may get stuck in traffic. It's not uncommon to find yourself in a car surrounded by cows as one of our ranching families who have raised livestock in our valley for generations and have preserved our wide open spaces moves a herd. And since the USA Pro Cycling Challenge first came to the valley in 2011, believe it or not, a few of these dyed-in-the-wool cowboys trade their chaps and their horses for some spandex and a mountain bike and hit the trails after a long day in the saddle. Gunnison is once again honored to host a start in one of the biggest cycling races in the world, and we thank the U.S. Pro Cycling Challenge. It's now my pleasure to introduce former Governor Bill Ritter. Thank you very much.
Thank you, David. When I was governor, I was doing a thing down in Gunnison, and we were on public land, BLM land, and they said, why don't you get on a mountain bike and just take a ride with David Weems? I said, why don't you go get another job, because nobody's going to, I am not going to ride with David Weems. This is back when he was winning the Leadville 100 year after year after year by 20 minutes and so. So it's great to see you again, David. Thank you. And great to actually be here. It's a day like this when I wish I knew how to tweet, right? When you see that stage race and you want to start, that's what everybody was doing in the back of the room, by the way, was tweeting the route. I'm here because my wife and I now have a little place in Salida, Colorado, and the Chaffee County folks called me up and said, would you be willing to come and speak on behalf of Salida and Chaffee County? And I said, I would, even though there's a lot of folks that are full-time residents there who probably should be here instead of me. I said, no, I'll go ahead and do that. And in part because I'm totally in love with the town of Salida, Colorado, and this county. And the number one resource there is the people, for sure. After that, it is just a mecca of a variety of different things. I was floating the river on the Arkansas River this past Saturday, 2 boats, 4 fishermen. Together we caught over 100 fish, fly fishing. It's just this amazing, amazing place. But then the bicycling is next to none, both the mountain bike and the road biking. And so for it to have a stage again, I think year one, it was the beginning of day one with Salida, Colorado, and the people are just very, very enamored with this race and enamored with the possibility now of having to be the host of the mountaintop finish. The route is cool because it comes up from Gunnison, up over Monarch, and then comes back down into Salida, and I think it's like a 9-mile circuit around Salida and then back up with the mountaintop finish on Monarch. I've snowshoed up the road that you're going to make those people ride bikes up, Sean, and I could hardly snowshoe up it. You're going to make them go on road bikes, but they're the best professional cyclists in the world, and so they should. The people of Salida are just very, very happy that they've been selected here. You will enjoy a community that's known by cyclists, and the cycling profession is a very cycling-friendly community. There's a lot of water sports and a lot of other things to do as well. And so thank you, Sean. Thank you for everything you've done to lead this race. Certainly thanks to the Shaddens for their participation. Al, you're right. You have nurtured this race, and I appreciate it because I think it means so much to the state of Colorado that we've been able to do exactly what we said we would do from the beginning, which was have the classiest race in all of America and someday, we think, in the world. God bless you.
After the mountaintop finish at Monarch Mountain, there will be an auto transfer down to Colorado Springs. I'd like to introduce Peter Scoville. Peter's been a big advocate from the tour from the beginning down in the Pikes Peak region, and he's here to talk about Stage 4. Peter.
These are some pretty big shoes to follow in, so I'll do my best. I wanted to start out by saying how happy Colorado Springs is as a town for getting the opportunity to have this race back again. It's we've had a lot of a lot of fun organizing it, and this town, as many people know, is home of the United States Olympic Committee, home of USA Cycling, USA Triathlon, a number of other national governing bodies, and it's becoming a really awesome sports and cycling town, and events like this really help us out an awful lot. As many people know, we keep reinventing ourselves as a host city. In 2011, we had the first stage of the first year of this race, so it was quite an experience, and it was a great start to what's continuing here. And that was a prologue. In 2012, we had a circuit finish from Breckenridge that I think many people knew was circling around downtown Colorado Springs, which really pulled it together and was a great finish there. And then for this year, we have got a really excellent route. It's going to be a pure circuit in Colorado Springs, a ceremonial start at the Broadmoor. This race will then jump into a 16-mile circuit that we're going to end up doing 4 times. Racers will do 4 times. This circuit is no joke. It's not going to be a pancake flat finish circuit. It's going to have routes through the Garden of the Gods, infamous climb that many people know, Ridge Road. It's a 1 kilometer, 17% grade that is going to shake up everything for the sprinters, as well as could be a serious shake up in the overall GC for the race. So it's a great route. We're really excited about it. Downtown Colorado Springs is going to be the focal point with the finish downtown, and we've got the city ready to go for it, and we're looking forward to it. Thank you.
For Stage 5, there will be an auto transfer up to Woodland Park, which is a first-time host, and we're joined today by Mike Perini. And then that route will go to Breckenridge. We're joined by Shannon Lampin of Breckenridge. I'd like to introduce Mike and Shannon. And Mike, interesting sidebar about him. He was a longtime director of public affairs for NORAD. So if you have kids, you can blame him because he oversaw the Santa Claus tracking program, as I understand it. So a little side note about that. And a little side note about Shannon. She was, this past year, one of National Geographic's Adventures of the Year. So another great Colorado set of people here to introduce Stage 5.
Well, thank you very much, and I can tell you that Santa Claus will still be watching this, and there's presents for everybody if you come out to the race. So, the city above the clouds, Woodland Park, is deeply honored that our town is one of the new start locations for 2014. We know that this is an extremely important segment of the 7-day historic race, and we're doing everything we can to make this memorable for cycling enthusiasts everywhere. We have a week-long schedule of events to elevate the excitement that will lead up to the High Altitude USA Pro Challenge start. So bring your bike, your trike, your OHV, and even your hiking boots, because we have great eateries, shopping, lodging. We've got RV and campsites right near the start. Additional recreational fun for everyone of all ages is here on Highway 24 in Teller County. And for you to treasure and to share with family and friends, we encourage you to have that camera or video, as along the start route that Shannon will describe, in the background are spectacular views of America's mountain, Pikes Peak, to enjoy. Thank you. Shannon?
So the 2014 USA Pro Cycling Challenge does not let up. Stage 5 is no exception. The stage's serene first 80 miles hide a vicious finish and a last chance for climbing specialists to really make a move. Starting in the new host community of Woodland Park, Stage 5 heads west, then north through some of the most picturesque terrain in Colorado. This quiet run through the Pike National Forest on Terrial Road was unpaved until just last year, and the racers will christen it properly with high speeds and lots of breakaway attempts. The action really starts when the race hits fair play and begins the long grind up the 11,500-foot Hoosier Pass. Then it's on to Breckenridge, where last year's challenging finish up Moonstone Road will be repeated again. This nasty little climb can kill a break or launch a winner. And for the fourth year in a row, our quaint, authentic Victorian Main Street serves as an iconic backdrop for this world-class race. So it's no surprise that Breckenridge has been referred to as the perfect mountain town. Just take a stroll through our nationally designated historic district and you'll feel the vibrant spirit of eclectic boutiques and happy hour energy, or simply relax next to the soothing Blue River. Our swiftly growing made-in-Breck scene ranges from super fat skis and handmade bicycle frames to award-winning bourbon and fine foods. Full of culture as well as character, Breckenridge's flourishing art district and unmatched trail system, plus a gold-level bike-friendly community, and a resort that's known for winter but delivers big fun all summer long, will all combine to attract travelers in search of an authentic adventure. We take pride in our laid-back charm that makes our guests feel like locals. From shopping to nightlife and dining to culture, you can kick it up or kick back, whatever your mood. Because Breckenridge, we keep it real 24/7. Join us for Breck Bike Week surrounding our Stage 5 finish, starting Wednesday through Sunday, with music, fun bike events, and an all-around rockin' great time as Breckenridge once again pulls out all the stops for the USA Pro Cycling Challenge.
The entourage will then transfer over to Vail the next day. Representing Stage 6, Stan Zemler, town manager for the village of Vail. And he's been a great advocate from the beginning, and obviously it's been very historic if you've been out on the pass of Vail Pass to see the crowds out there. Stan.
Good morning, and first of all, thank you. It's a privilege to be selected again to participate in this. We're obviously very pleased to be a host city for the third year. The return of the time trial for Stage 6, starting in the Vail Village, up Vail Pass on Saturday, August 23rd. The time trial has been pivotal in determining the overall race winner the 3 years that Vail has been the host city. And I was kind of listening. I haven't won anything. It takes me 3 times as long to do this particular ride than maybe Tim or somebody. But it's obviously the shortest ride on the route, but no less challenging. Last year, the Pro Cycling Challenge visited Vail. The time trial was decided by 4 seconds. In the 3 visits, the Vail time trial course, this was the largest margin of victory. So this is obviously a very yet short, yet extremely competitive. And if you were watching last year, the final 2 riders, when they crossed that finish line, both more or less collapsed, left it all on the course. It's a very fierce, competitive route. The course's roots are in Colorado racing lore. They trace back to the Coors Classic, starting in Vail, climbing most of the way up Vail Pass. The route is no easy proposition, even for the best riders on earth. The general grades of the first half of the race course give way to a steady climb for the last 3 miles. But it takes more than legs on this strategic course. I'd like to also acknowledge our partner, the Vail Valley Foundation, and again, it's a privilege and we're grateful to have this opportunity again.
The tour concludes Sunday with a stage from Boulder to Denver, and it's a distinct honor to have two great individuals for the final stage here. Tim Duggan, 2012 Olympian, 2012 U.S. professional champion. He's competed in the last 3 USA Pro Challenge, and the president of the Denver Broncos, AFC champions and Super Bowl competitors last year, President Joe Ellis. I'd like to introduce Tim and Joe to speak on behalf of the last stage. Tim?
So I just retired from professional cycling a few months ago at the end of last season, but to be honest, after watching that promo video, I'm kind of contemplating a comeback here. If you guys know any team spots for me, let me know. In 2012, when I first heard that Boulder was going to be hosting a stage of the USA Pro Challenge, I began thinking about this every day. This was like my dream. At the start of my career, I had never imagined that a race of this caliber would be taking place in my own backyard. If there was ever a day for me to go for it, it was on this stage, racing through Boulder, racing through my own backyard. The race played out exactly how I imagined, and I was part of a formidable breakaway as we entered the city of Boulder. Just on the outskirts of Boulder, kind of in the middle of nowhere, I was just blown away by the crowds. I don't even know where they came from. I had, goosebumps as I entered the town. It was unreal. Racing through my hometown, in some places I couldn't even tell what street we were on, streets I grew up on. I couldn't even tell because any landmarks were just covered by the throngs of people on the roadside. And it culminated in an unforgettable finish atop Flagstaff Mountain amidst thousands of screaming fans, where I led the race until the final kilometers, ultimately finishing in 5th place. And it was definitely one of the most memorable days of my career. And for me, that day was really only surpassed in vibe, in passion, in spirit by my experience at the Olympic Games. We won't be finishing on Flagstaff this year, but I have no doubt that the people in the city of Boulder will again put on a great show. Instead of a punishing final climb, Boulder will show off its vibrant downtown with the start of the final stage. This stage will be the last chance for the breakaway specialist to have a shot at victory and attempt to spoil the sprinter's plan before the finish line on the circuits in Denver. We can expect the attacks to be in full force right from the gun at the beginning of the stage as the riders leave Boulder. Going back to the Red Zinger and the Coors Classic, Boulder has a rich cycling heritage, and I'm really excited that the USA Pro Challenge can continue that legacy in Boulder. As a professional cyclist, I've traveled all over the world to some of the most amazing places, and I can honestly say that there's no other place that I would rather ride a bike and live than Boulder, Colorado. I'm proud to showcase our town as a world-class cycling destination and the passion of our residents who work, live, and play here. Thank you. I'd like to introduce Joe Ellis to give us the rundown on the stage.
Thank you, everybody. First of all, Tim, great to hear about your experiences. I'm here not really as president of the Broncos, but more so as chairman of this year's board at Visit Denver. And obviously the last stage, Stage 7, is very important to this region. And we thank you, Sean, for bringing the race back for year number 4 and for many more years to come. That's great. I will say the Broncos, we have our own little, Tim Duggan wannabe club. We get out and face the treacherous intersection at Arapahoe and Peoria. If we can get through that without unclipping and timing the light just right, we make it into Cherry Creek State Park for about 30 minutes, and unfortunately the 30 extra years and the 30 extra pounds take over and we turn around and come back. But we enjoy it. It's fun, and this is a great event, obviously, for our region, and very, very exciting event. We host all-star games, we host conventions, we host a lot of big events, and this is right up there with all of them now. And so very, very proud for this region to be able to close the race out with Stage 7. Stage 7, I'll read from the script so you can follow it along the screen here. It's got familiar terrain. Every year is different, and anything can happen in bike racing. So leaving Boulder on 93, the riders will have several hilly and windswept miles for breakaways to establish before reaching Golden for the first of 2 passes. Through Golden, the racers will tackle the 4-mile climb of Lookout Mountain. I've yet to do that. Don't know if I'll do it anytime soon. Pretty treacherous terrain. They haven't seen that since 2011. So this is the first year since the inaugural year of the race they'll be going up that. Another quick pass at Golden. The race screams through the suburbs en route to downtown Denver, and everybody knows what a special atmosphere that is. The abbreviated version of last year's circuit awaits the racers for 4 fast laps through downtown, 17th Avenue and City Park. And so over the years, the race has witnessed some incredible sprinting, as everybody here knows, to finish it off. And this year, obviously, should be no exception. So really, really exciting day for this region. Looking forward to it. And thanks again, Sean, to everybody for bringing this race back. Great event for Denver and this region. Thank you.
Before we bring up our final guest, I was talking to team representatives of BMC Racing, the team of TJ Van Garderen. TJ expressed his sentiments on this year's course, and to paraphrase, basically he's excited to come back this August. It will be his only North American race that he will be doing. So great for the USA Pro Challenge, and I think great for the event. This time I'd like to bring up Ben Day. He's competed in 2 events in 2012 and then last year in 2013. He races for the United Healthcare team. He's from Australia but resides in Boulder, Colorado. Former time trial champion of Australia. Also in 2010, Velonews' domestic road racer of the year, Ben Day. Ben, quick question. Now that you've seen all the courses, maybe a little scary, a lot of climbing, but you are a climber and also a time trialist. Give us your overall impression of the race.
Formidable. Looking at this route here, it's I'm learning this as we look at it this morning, and I think I'm going to start my diet tomorrow. I'm still looking for the easy stage. There's no easy stage this year. No, every day full gas. Yeah. For me, I've been in Boulder since 2007, and it's my adopted home. Really love Colorado. Such an amazing place. Just the outdoor atmosphere and the way that people relate to that, I think, is an amazing feeling and ambience to be involved in. For me, one of the joys of doing this race, and it's been one of my career's highlight for sure. I've been doing this for 14 years now. There's places here in Colorado that I don't know if I would have seen if it wasn't for riding a bike and having this opportunity. So I'm looking forward to this Monarch Mountain thing. I'm not so sure. Maybe I'll go relax down there first. But all these amazing places, it's such a great way to see Colorado and experience the state. So really looking forward to it this year. And yeah, I think I'm going to have to start this diet tomorrow.
One additional question for you, too. You've raced, a lot in Europe. You've certainly raced in Asia and certainly down in your native Australia. How's this race different on the international calendar? And now that you're a resident here in Colorado, what makes that special for you?
If you talk to the riders throughout the world, they want to come to this race. We're talking the Chris Froomes, the Richie Ports, some of the best cyclists in the world. These guys put their hand up and they want to come over here because one of the biggest things is the atmosphere that's created at the start and the finishes of these stages and over some of these mountain passes. If you've watched the footage in the last couple of years, you see that some of the climbs are so packed with spectators. We're looking for a way to get through them, But that atmosphere as you cross the finish line, it really pushes you to new levels, and it's an experience that we all kind of love to feel, and we feel like kings of the road out there. So it's an amazing race. The spectators are absolutely incredible, and I think Chris Baldwin summed it up pretty well in that video at the beginning of it, that he said that we have the best spectators here and also the craziest.
We'll have a quick Q&A here before we wrap it up. So if there are any general questions right now, we'll call up any members or speakers from today. Any questions? If not, I'll like to introduce Sean Hunter one more time to give closing remarks. Sean?
Well, there are two takeaways from today. Thanks to our great ambassadors here from Colorado that represent us well. They shared the details of the 2014 route. It will be the best yet for America's race. And second, and maybe just as important, if you heard what I heard, Timmy Dugan is coming out of retirement. So that will be the subhead. Thank you all. Come join us starting in Aspen August 18th, and I can't wait for version number 4. Thank you all very much.